let's do this.
I like the enthusiasm.
Welcome to Two Girls, a Guy, and a TARDIS. I'm Joanna.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm John. So this is episode 2, and our audio problems are fixed.
Yay.
Yay. Excellent.
Nicole, I think, has some news for us.
Yes. My news that I will be going to Gallifrey 1 next weekend.
Ooh.
Yay.
I know, right?
Yay.
It's awesome. She told me that, was it last time? After the last episode?
I'm pretty jealous. I have friends who are jealous.
I am completely jealous, and I don't know if I'll ever get the Galley one, so at least we have someone that can fill us in when she gets back of all the scoops and stuff that she finds out.
All the exciting news.
Ooh.
Fresh from L.A.
Lovely.
The epicenter of the Doctor Who universe.
Yes.
I think Chicago's a better epicenter, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Because you have Chicago TARDIS, it's in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need a big con. You don't need a big con to celebrate Doctor Who.
I agree. And
you just need the right people.
See, to me, big cons always, they feel impersonal. Like, I always wanted to go to Comic-Con in San Diego, but now it's so massively huge. And now it's not even about comics anymore. Now there's, like, Hollywood blockbuster films there. So I'm like, that kind of makes me not want to go anymore. Like, it seems like it's, like, taken away. Like, you go to Wizard World here, and it's mostly comic stuff. I mean, there's some sci-fi and stuff, which is fine. But it just seems like anything that happens in California, because Hollywood's right there, it just gets so much more glitz and glamored up, and I don't know,
Yeah, but, well, also, from what you hear at, like, San Diego Comic-Con, you have to, like, practically camp out to get into the panel you want, so you can't do anything else. You have to, like, decide, this is what I want, that's it.
Because you're spending all day in line.
That's no fun.
You're going to have to tell us how Galley is, though, when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I don't know. I've never... Yeah. Everyone tells... all the other podcasts that I've listened to, and, I mean, there's a few, there's Radio Free Skaro, which is kind of my original Doctor Who podcast that I listen to, and it's been kind of inspiration for me to be like, hey, I think I want to start one. They go, and it's all about Doctor Who and drinking, apparently. I guess to each their own, but supposedly it's a lot of fun.
Yes, I got one of the last memberships, I believe, to Gallifrey 1.
That's awesome.
It was like, I kept debating, like, I don't know, because I'm like, I have to plan so far in advance, I don't know if I'll be able to go. Should I risk it or not? And then finally I was like, okay. They kept, mentioning, and they were like, oh, we're getting down to only 100 memberships left. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get it. And then I got it, and then, like, a couple hours later they announced, like, memberships are sold out for Gallifrey 1. And I was like, under the wire, got in.
Excellent.
Has anyone noticed a complete lack of information leaks about anything to do with the 50th anniversary, episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? It's like I try every day. I'm scouring this newfangled thing called the internet. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to scour forums, because forums, first off, you get in fights with people for no reason, because I used to do it all the time. You don't know if it's going to be, like, if it's leaked from, like, oh, someone heard David Tennant say it, I can say, okay, well, at least it's somewhat maybe.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I thought there's been a complete lack of, like, anything that we've heard.
I kind of like it, because it's going to be complete unknown for everyone, and if we were to see it now, it's going to be, like, joyful, because it's something that it's unexpected, it's spoiler-free, nothing's going to be ruined by people.
That's true.
And it's nice.
That is true.
Eventually.
So big.
But, I mean, it's something that's so big, yet rumor has it it's only an hour long.
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes longer than a standard episode. To me, it's kind of like, okay, you're doing all this stuff all year. You're airing old episodes, specials about the old doctors, that film about the first about William Hartnell. By the way, the guy that's playing William Hartnell played in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Solomon.
He played Solomon. Yeah.
And he was the janitor in Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was. That's right.
So
yeah,
there's like a lot of the BBC or some of the Doctor Who people were in Harry Potter.
Yeah, they were. There's a lot of crossover. And speaking
Rory's dad.
Yeah, Rory's dad. Rory's dad was also in Red Dwarf back in the day when it came out, I think. Speaking of Harry Potter, not to derail the train here. So I've been trying to figure out something to get my wife for Valentine's Day, something kind of unique and everything. And I work at a large metropolitan airport, and there's taxi cabs that have signs on them promoting shows. And I saw a show called Potted Potter. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. It's like these two guys do all the movies, and well, he's got the sign on his car. I look it up. It ended 3 months ago. What kind of really? You couldn't change the advertising in 3 months? I got all hyped up. I'm like, oh, she's gonna love this. She'll never expect it. We don't do anything like this ever. And all of a sudden, it's like, sorry, I'm not here anymore. I'm like, son of a. So
I know
close.
my sister saw it, and one of my friends saw it at the end of December. So.
How was it?
They loved it.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be great, And I'm like, oh man, I'm so bummed. I don't usually come up with like really stellar ideas, and when I do, something backfires. The necklace I bought her at Chicago TARDIS, I couldn't find it in time for Christmas. I had to order another one similar, and then 3 weeks after Christmas I found it. So they're doing but they're doing all this build up to the 50th episode, and then it's gonna be like, hey, here's an hour.
Yeah.
What? I kind of thought the season would tie into it or something, I mean, I can understand not wanting to do like an 8-part mega Marvel comic style like story arc over like 100 episodes. I get that, but 60 minutes just seems a little light to celebrate the 50th anniversary. I mean, there aren't that many shows that have been around that long. Yeah. I mean, granted, technically, if you want to be technical, the show hasn't been on the air for 50 years.
Yeah.
But it's the 50th anniversary when it came out, so I don't know.
And that's a huge deal.
I agree.
Well, even Tennant's Goodbye got 2 episodes.
Tennant's Goodbye got like a season and a half.
Yes, but I meant the actual Goodbye episode was at least a 2-parter.
Yeah.
So even that's going to be longer than.
And he had 20 minutes to himself at the end.
Yeah.
To say goodbye to him.
Again, I did not like that episode, but still, he got.
I was torn. Like I kind of liked it because I kind of looked at it as it's not only Tennant's farewell, but RTD's and what's the producer, whatever her name was, the programming director, whatever. So I kind of looked at it that it was also his way of saying goodbye to the characters he created for the show and whatever. But it was so just uber cheesy that he went everywhere and did that, And I loved David Tennant. I thought he was a great Doctor.
Yeah, I just that episode. I didn't like it. I was.
But would you watch it if it was on?
That might be the only one that I'm not sure I really ever wanted to see again.
What about the one when they're on the bus in the desert with the first one in the specials? What was that one called? I keep thinking Waters of Mars. I know that's not the one. Because Waters of Mars is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the Planet of the Dead. Is that the one? Or am I giving it a different name?
Is that which one was it, Joanna? The first episode with he meets that girl that's a thief, and they're on a double-decker bus, and it gets sent to another dimension or something.
The Swarm or whatever is the
Oh, I'm looking it up.
That was a hard episode to sit through.
It was.
I don't even know if I ever made it to the end of that episode, which is something I would only admit on my own podcast.
You're right. It's Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead. Very good.
I wasn't sure if I was inventing that or.
There was almost this terrified look on Nicole's face, like, "No, I know this," and then I'm just sitting there like, "I don't remember," because I didn't really care for any of that series.
No,
but,
the specials I pretty much could have.
But yeah,
them all.
You're right. Tennant's Goodbye was 2 episodes that were about 45 minutes apiece.
At least, yeah.
So he got an hour and a half, and the entire 50th anniversary episode to celebrate the whole show is
an hour. It's enough.
And you know what's funny is we have some Tennant news that Joanna found, and it seems Joanna's very good at finding Tennant news.
I don't know how I found it. I just I found actually I follow Tennant fans on Twitter and on Facebook. So he's coming BBC America and is announcing that Tennant is coming back to BBC America, and they're going to be showing Spies of Warsaw. So it's going to be this spring, starting in April. So.
No, is that the one where the TARDIS materializes in Warsaw during World War II?
No.
Oh.
No. Spies of Warsaw is completely different, I'm assuming.
Bern Gorman's in it, too.
Oh yeah, I remember. Well, Spies of Warsaw actually was filmed and came out in England like a couple years back.
But we're finally getting it here.
Yeah, I know it didn't have the TARDIS. I just was, Okay.
I just remember Bern Gorman at Chicago TARDIS saying he got to be mean to David Tennant.
Yep. Bern Gorman was pretty. He was a guy that he was so different from his character. Yeah. He was such a nice guy.
Absolutely, yeah. It was almost
so mellow and calm.
Startling.
And then you think of how he played Owen, and you're like, oh my god, really? This is the same. You are an excellent actor.
Well, it's all he ever plays, really, or jerks.
Douchebags, yeah, that's what he said.
And that wasn't what you get from him at all in person.
No, he has these like little reading glasses, and you would never even think he was an actor looking at him when he was sitting up there. You would walk right past him and be like, hey, he looks kind of like that one guy.
One day, I don't think it was the day that you were there, he was actually out there with his tea. He was like sitting there drinking tea while he was talking. And I'm like, that is so not
what you would expect from Owen.
Yeah.
Well, what about at Wizard World the year before when we saw Yanto, the guy that played Yanto, not Grant, what the hell is his name? Yeah, Gareth David Lloyd, who actually has a heavy metal band, a progressive heavy metal band that I have the album from. That's the weirdest thing, because here's this guy that in the show is kind of a soft-spoken, like, gentleman kind of guy, and then he sings, it's like, Roar! And you're like, what the hell? But it was him and, why can't I think of the actor's name? Kai Owen. No, Kai Owen, is that his name? Kai? The one that played Gwen's husband.
It's Kai.
Yeah, Kai.
Kai Owen.
Yeah, and oh my god, they were the two rowdiest guys I ever seen. They had people going to get them beer, and this guy that went to get them beer was dressed like Jack Harkness, who we saw at Chicago TARDIS that same year.
And he was there this year again.
He was there this year again. Yeah, I talked to him a little bit. Nice guy. They go to get him the beer, they come back, and he just, like, kisses the guy right on the lips.
Because he sent him with a girl, and the girl wanted a kiss in return, and then they were like, oh, we'll give you a kiss, too.
Yeah. It was like, and, I thought it was hilarious. Nicole thought it was hilarious, because the guy, he didn't know what to do, so he just kind of played along. Because when I saw him at Chicago TARDIS, I'm like, wait a minute, you were at Wizard World, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you were the one that got the beer. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you were... He's like, yeah. He's like, I had no idea the guy was going to do that. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know. What do you know?
But when you're dressed as Captain Jack,
yeah, you
got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. Speaking of other con news, Joanna's going to, where is it? Go ahead.
C2E2, and Peter Davison is going to be there, so. You
should enjoy him, because we saw him last year?
Yeah, last year.
And he was delightful. It was him and,
Janet Fielding.
Thank you. I keep wanting to use their stage name. It was Keegan, and it was supposed to be Sarah Sutton, but she couldn't make it, so they had the guy that played Adric, and no one was asking him anything. Like, barely talked to him. And I'm sure he knows his character's not well liked.
Well, he joked about
because he joked about it. And,
when they were talking about their favorite episode from their time, they all were joking that their favorite episode
was when he died.
Yeah.
But they're like, so what? They ask a question for all three of them, and Peter Davison would go, and then Janet Fielding would go, and then like the moderator would be like, all right, next question, and like just don't even. So I felt kind of bad for him, but I mean, he seemed like he was having a good time though. But
yeah.
Peter Davison was great. I mean, he was, and he's on some other show. He's on Law and Order UK or something. Yeah, so
with Freema.
Yeah, and she's actually supposed to be really good in that show, from what I've heard.
There's a lot of Law and Order shows. Was it like on? Has it been on BBC America in past?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah,
really?
It's on BBC America.
Huh. Okay. Free. I might have caught one episode of it through BBC iPlayer. Don't ask. And from what I remember, maybe it was just a clip of it, but she seemed like she was a much better actress in that show. Like, I felt bad for her in a way, because I don't think she was really a bad actress, but in Doctor Who, I don't think she was written really well at times, but then there were times when she just seemed stiff. Like, there were times that I thought she was really good, but it didn't seem like there was consistency with her.
I liked Martha.
But the clips I've seen of her in Law and Order, she's been great, so.
I think it has to do with what happened, like, with her direction in Doctor Who. Maybe she didn't get the correct direction.
That could be.
As opposed, something else.
That could be. I mean, it could very well be that. But, you never know. But she obviously is getting whatever she needs in LA Law, in Law and Order.
She traveled back in
to
time.
1984.
I remember when the Doctor dropped her off back in the 80s, and then...
Yeah, I hear Tennant's I hear Tennant's going to be do a remake of Magnum P.I., and Eccleston is going to play Murdoch in the new A-Team TV show.
Oh, did you hear? I just saw that today. About Matt Smith is going to be in Ryan Gosling's directorial debut.
What?
Matt Smith is going to play the lead in Ryan Gosling's directorial debut.
What? Hopefully he directs better than he acts. What?
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Do you have any details of what it's about?
I read a little description of it, and I was thoroughly confused. It was something in kind of surreal, and there's a woman with children. I didn't see how a man fits into it at all from the description, so I don't feel like I have any handle at all on the plot. All I know is it said he was the male lead, and there were, Eva Mendes, I think, was in it.
Oh, yeah, no, those two look good. Those two look good together.
And Christina Hendricks, maybe?
Did you say your friends have a funny story about Peter Davison? Did you ever get the story out of them?
I did, but the story confuses me, to pieces. So, I think they kind of mortified him at one point because my friend
they met him.
Lobbycon went up to him for some reason, and the story just goes I don't even know. So, what really happened? But I'm like, okay. And he just sort of walked away. And at one point, I think it was on a Sunday. I believe it was on Sunday.
The day everyone's hungover.
Open. And he I heard he laughed at that. He kind of went. I don't know what happened. So I need to get the story because every time I hear the story, I am confused. It's a funny story, but it confuses me. So you're just.
Speaking of Freema, by the way, we found out Freema is on Twitter if anyone wants to follow her.
Freema Official is her Twitter handle. So
yeah. Did you guys notice how we were talking about how the special, the 50th anniversary is going to be, just an hour long? Isn't the Adventure in Space and Time an hour and a half?
Yeah, it's longer.
So the drama showing the beginning of the show is longer than the anniversary. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe it's more than 60 minutes. Maybe they're just saying that. I mean, who knows?
It does seem awfully short.
Especially since we're getting the new series in March, and there's only how many episodes? 13? 8. 8?
I think there's 8.
I thought it was double digit. Is it 8 only? Okay, well, so we're getting 8 episodes, and then the special's not till near the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough, summer. We're going to have to get together in air conditioning and watch old Who episodes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Make some popcorn. Got the nice projector right there. Yeah, it could work.
Yes. It could. We could have friends. We could barbecue.
We could barbecue, yeah. We can actually all meet in person.
My friends are trying to distract me. Just to let you know, they're being little punks right now, so...
Are they, in the room with you?
No, they're on Twitter right now, so...
Oh. So, Adventure in Space and Time, it's about the creation of Doctor Who. Mark Gatiss is writing it. He's one of the more frequent script writers of Doctor Who.
Dr. Lazarus.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's an actor, too. I remember hearing he's in other stuff. What scripts did he write? Do you remember any of them?
He wrote Night Terrors. He wrote... And I believe he wrote The Lazarus Experiment. I think.
And he put himself in it?
Yes. Playing Dr. Lazarus. I think.
Lazarus Experiment.
Could be
Which
wrong.
One was that?
That was with Freema.
Was that the one with the watch?
No, where he is doing the...
It's Experiment.
Yeah. And he, goes crazy and... The main thing I remember from that episode...
I watched all those, and I can't think of which one you're talking about.
The main thing I remember from that episode is he chases them into, like, the church, like a big cathedral, and he, like, falls to his death because he has, like, superhuman powers from his experiment.
I do not remember that one at all. I don't know why.
It's the one where you met Martha's family, I think.
I hated Martha's family. Oh, God. Her mother.
Yeah, that one.
I think the best part about that whole series was the reintroduction of the Master and John Sims playing him and doing a pretty good job at it. Granted, he didn't have dark hair and a goatee like the classic Masters, but I think those... Like, I like the Shakespeare one, too, to be honest. I really like that one.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the one girl that played one of the witches was in a TV show called Hex on BBC, playing, I think, a witch or something like that, too. I'm like,
all right, Mark Radis also wrote The Wedding of River Song, according to Wikipedia. So sorry about interrupting.
No, that's fine.
He did the Idiot's Lantern. I
hated that episode.
With The Wire.
Oh, speaking of that episode, I'm going to make a reference to later on. Because I found out what the possible episode names are this year, and one of them seems strikingly similar to that idea.
Ooh.
But I was not a fan of that episode.
It
wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It was just kind of meh.
But one of my favorites in season 4 was Written Overnight, the Midnight.
Really?
That was the one they wrote.
That was a good one.
Midnight.
Where they're on the
like
the
spaceship.
little tram exploring.
Yes, and it breaks
down. That was
down.
like written last minute.
I really have a thing for sci-fi horror. I love sci-fi horror. My wife hates all horror. Like, she's like, "Oh, let's watch a movie." I'm like, "I can go get Aliens." She's like, "No." I'm like, "Damn it." I'm like, "How about Predator?" "No." Damn it. But that episode I thought was really well done. I thought that was great. I think when Doctor Who does a science fiction horror episode, they do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah.
And that episode was pretty good. I enjoyed that one.
And that was actually, I was amazed when that was like the last minute replacement for another story. I'm like,
wasn't there supposed to be
really good?
Wasn't there supposed to be a Neil Gaiman one that season or something, and it didn't work out? That's why he did the one with Matt Smith's season instead.
No, I think that was
or was he supposed to be the
season.
first? Okay, it was supposed to be fifth season, and he couldn't. Okay.
That one, no, there was one they wrote, but they did the Unicorn and the Wasp. That was kind of a funny one.
I didn't mind that episode.
And then they had another episode lined up that was kind of, they felt too similar to the Unicorn and the Wasp.
Oh, okay.
So then they pulled that one out, and then they needed a last-minute replacement, and Russell T. Davies was like, okay, I'll whip one out.
Yeah, I mean, I actually read Agatha Christie, and I watch the Hercule Poirot stuff, or Poirot, however you want to say it. So I really enjoyed that episode. I thought that was pretty good. Mm. But that was with Donna, right? She was in that one? I actually kind of like Donna as a companion, to be honest. I thought Donna was all right. I thought Donna did a nice job of keeping him in line, in a sense, you know?
They had, like, really good chemistry.
Yeah, I agree.
For that episode.
You know, maybe that's what it was with him and Freema. Maybe the chemistry just wasn't there.
Well,
because, like I said, she's not a bad actress at all.
But he was kind of mopey that year, because he was getting over Rose.
Yeah.
So he wasn't, like...
You know, there's actually a internet comic somebody wrote, and Erica sent it to me. I'll see if I still have the link. I'll send it to you guys. And it has all the doctors up to Tennant in it. And all the doctors are lecturing Eccleston about, oh, you're attached to this young girl, and, like, giving him all this shit about, like, how it's almost romantic between them. And, like, they're like, shame, you know, like, the whole... And the guy that wrote it, it's black and white. It's just, like, sketched out. But the guy that wrote it did a pretty good job of, like, capturing all the doctors' personalities and stuff. It was pretty good. But I remember, like, Rose and Ace, and like, Ace was going to kick her ass. Like, I think they even have her say it. Like, she kept calling her Blondie, and there were times when, like, Sylvester McCoy's doctor was, like, holding her back with the umbrella so she wouldn't, like, take out Rose. So it was pretty good. But yeah, you know, that's right, because Rose left at the end of the series before that.
Yeah, he was just kind of mopey.
Introduced to Donna, like the Runaway Bride.
Yeah, and then Freema was introduced in the first episode. Nice work.
Yes.
So where do we leave off? We
were talking about Martha for a while there.
Yeah, my train is derailed. Chicago TARDIS this year is in the same spot as in Lombard.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we need to find a way to get you there.
I know. So maybe we could be the official podcast of Chicago TARDIS.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? That'd be great, except for the fact that at least 50 of the people that go to Chicago TARDIS are from other podcasts with more listeners than us. But I think we're the only Chicago-based one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's another Chicago-based Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I don't, other than Verity with Erica, and she's got like some big-time writers and stuff on hers. Most of them are like male-centric, kind of. There's mostly men that do it, maybe one or two women, but other than Verity, like I said, which is all women. So we have a few niche markets we got to try finding a way to get into. Yeah. But it would be great to be the official podcast of it. That'd be so awesome. I would, you know what? It would make my day if I could just interview somebody that was like, even a C-level celebrity from the show. Yeah, Adric. But speaking of Chicago TARDIS, so Terry Malloy's coming back to Chicago TARDIS. I haven't heard any other announcements of guests or anything, though. Have you guys at all?
No.
But I think they usually do it a little later
on. Yeah, it's going to be like Colin Baker. It's like we had Peter Davison, we had Sylvester McCoy, we had a good run.
Well, yeah, the choices.
And don't get me wrong when I say that about Colin Baker is not a bad actor. It's just what they were trying to do with him, and it just didn't work. And they dressed him like a clown, and then they dressed Perry like Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka. That one episode. Remember the first episode? She's wearing like all purple. And the thing is, she looked huge, and she was not big at all. She was
fashion.
Yeah. But he was
bad fashion.
Yeah, he was dressed like a clown. She was wearing all purple, like a plum with a purple beret on. What amazes me is how much companion hatred there is. It's like, I can't say there's a companion I really... Turlo I wasn't too high on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can't pick out a companion that I just completely hated. Who was the Amazon kind of chick? What was her name? Leela?
Leela, yeah.
Even she was all right. I mean, she wasn't my favorite, but there are people out there that are like, oh, I hate Tegan's character. I hate Perry. I hate... Jesus. They were like... Or Mel, a perfect example was Mel from the Sylvester McCoy years. Oh my God, people hate her.
Yeah,
why?
I
don't know. Some people said she was annoying, and yeah, I could see that. She was kind of like real bubbly and stuff, but she would not be on top of my list for hated or liked. You know what I found out? Sophie Aldred was older than her.
Really?
Which is funny because in the show, I think, or they were close in age, but in the show, Sophie Aldred's character was supposed to be like 18, 19, and Mel was supposed to be like 30, but they're like within 2 years of each other or something, I think, which is really weird. It's like, wow. They're just, like I said, it's just astonishing to me how much, like, oh, I hated her. And sometimes it transfers to the actress, too, and it's like, it's not her fault. Sorry, she didn't write the part.
No, I don't...
It's like even now, we've had, 6 companions? You had Rose, you had Freema, you had Donna, Amy, Rory. Do you count Jack? I mean...
And there's Mickey.
And there was Mickey. Do you count Mickey as a companion? I mean, he was only there a few episodes on it, in the TARDIS. There are people that say, as long as they step foot in the TARDIS, they're a companion, and it's like, okay, I guess. But we've had 6, right? Pretty much. We named off, maybe 5 or 6?
Yeah.
There are people that adamantly hate Freema's character. And then there are people that love her and adamantly hate Rose's character. And it's like, oh my God. There's legions of these fans that I just picture having, this, brawl in a parking lot one day. You're going to see, it looks like 100 Amy's fighting 100 Roses, fighting 100, what's Freema's character's name? Martha's.
Martha.
You're going to, you're just going to see this big brawl of, cosplayers over the companion. And I can't say that I hated any of them. Like I said, maybe... I didn't even hate Adric.
No.
I felt bad for Adric. Adric reminded me of he was the Wesley Crusher of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I didn't hate him. Yeah, he would not be on my list of all-time favorite companions, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The closest I come to hating one is Dodo.
Oh, Jesus, you're going way back. That was second Doctor, right?
She was First Doctor.
First Doctor, yeah.
She was just... She lived up to her name.
Yeah. But she wasn't there that long either, though.
No, and a lot of some of her episodes are missing. So
you rejoice in that fact?
No, just she was not my favorite. But again, I don't think I would passionately
despise her.
I hate her. I can't stand to look at her. I'm like, no, but on my list of companions, she would be pretty low. She really lived up to her name, in my opinion, and was kind of useless.
Oh, now let's be fair. There has been a lot of companions over the last 50 years that were useless.
She was more useless than the others.
There have been male and female companions that were useless.
No, she was not the only one, but she...
You know what companion I thought got the short end of the stick? The guy that was in, he was in with Eccleston's Doctor and with Rose. The one guy that was there for 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, they picked him up in the Dalek episode, and then Adam, maybe? Maybe
Adam? Yeah.
I think it's Adam.
They could have had him stick around. I don't see what was so bad about him. He was no worse than any other, that they've had over the years. They just wrote him out.
He had 2 episodes.
That was an Eccleston episode.
Because he returns him to his mom and his mom's house, and his mom snaps her fingers, and the thing opens on his forehead, and it's where it ends.
Well, he was stealing information from the future. You can't do that.
Do you ever find it funny how with Eccleston and Tennant's doctors, it seemed like they were Time Lords when it was convenient. Right in the first episode, he's representing the Shadow Proclamation. He's just reaming out the Plastine's nesting conscious and, all Time Lorded out. And then, kind of doesn't say nothing about it the rest of the season. And Tennant was kind of the same way. When it came to, protecting Earth, he's like, I'm a Time Lord and I'm stop. But then anybody else, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. At least with Matt Smith, it's, no, because there's Jenny. Every time I mention that, I get told, we don't talk about Jenny anymore.
Are we talking about the Doctor's daughter?
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. David Tennant's wife.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And his daughter. How creepy is that? And Peter Davison's actual daughter.
Yep. Literally, it's the Doctor's daughter.
Can you imagine what dinner parties must be like with that family? I mean, you imagine walking in and there's Peter Davison and David Tennant, and you're like, I'm in some sort of weird time-space continuum problem. Because anyone that's just kind of a friend that's introduced is gonna sit there for a second and be like, okay, I gotta ask, and bring up Doctor Who questions all night. I mean, how would you? How could you not?
I don't know. It would be kind of weird. I'd be like, I'm gonna be sitting in the corner, just wondering what the hell is going on.
I'm gonna be sitting.
You can't ask questions.
I'm gonna be sitting in the corner giggling because I don't know what to do. That's kind of the thing. It's it would be really neat to interview people, but you have to you would have to do it at Chicago TARDIS. If you were at Comic-Con and hey, you managed to snag an interview with, I don't know, Colin Baker or whatever doctor, you pick your, it's not the venue to talk about it, kind of. You know what I mean? Or when we went to see, what's his name that does the Big Finish audios, but he does the voice of the Daleks, or I think he does the voice of the Daleks and stuff. He talked nothing about Doctor Who. And somebody's like, well, it was a Big Finish audio panel. I'm like, I get it. But it was at a Doctor Who convention. You would, think you'd mention the Doctor Who Big Finish audios. But, how would you interview him? Because he clearly didn't want to talk about, anything other than the new projects they were doing. That'd be tough. So that's why I don't interview people. Oh, I told you guys I wanted to take Joanna to that, my wife Joanna, to that Harry Potter thing that is no longer around. This Joanna found out that there's a Doctor Who Burlesque show in Chicago.
Yeah.
And
one of my friends is in this, I think, and I got an invite on Facebook. So it's called Don't Blink, a Doctor Who Burlesque. It's now until April 26th. So, and it's Gorilla Tango Theater, and it's in 1919 North Milwaukee Avenue, Chicago. Illinois 60647. For more information, you could just Google Gorilla Tango.
Now, see, they were at Wizard World last year because they do like sci-fi burlesque stuff, like Star Trek.
Holy bouncing boobies, Batman.
Yeah,
and Batman burlesque.
And to be completely honest, I've never seen somebody fill out a Starfleet uniform like the girl that had it on there. Even Art was just. Okay, for the listeners that can't see the look on my face, I'm a guy. Figure it out. But she looked very charming. We'll say.
One of my friends is in the show, has done this, so I don't know what part she has in the show.
I'm really glad you didn't go long. You stopped and went from what position to something else.
I'm sorry. Oh gosh, it's like it's a spot. Oh.
Well, that's cool. You know someone's actually in the show, because I know someone that went and saw them for it was like a Batman one or something. And they're like, oh, it was really good. And I'm like, how have I not heard of this till last year?
Yeah, I was kind of curious about them. I was like, I don't normally go, I want to go check out the naked women or so, but I was like, they seem like they're clever.
It's burlesque, not a strip show.
But they're
very
clothed. Scantily clad.
Yeah, burlesque is supposed to be considered the classy kind of.
Yes,
yeah.
But I was like, I don't normally go.
I want to go see naked women. I'm glad you don't.
But I was like, because the Batman one, and they have like I think Indiana Jones maybe now, and
really,
I think they have an Indiana Jones one, and.
But I've heard that their show is actually really good,
yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in it, not just dancing girls. So
yeah, so as I said before, I know someone who actually is a spot who is an actress for this company. So if anyone wants to see it, go see it. Let us know what it's like.
Yeah, for sure.
The reviews.
Okay, let's go back to what we were doing.
No, I was gonna say back to the 50th anniversary stuff. Like any rumors that there hasn't been a whole lot.
No.
They've interviewed. There's been interviews with like different people that played doctors, and Sylvester McCoy made the comment at Chicago TARDIS that they should bring back all the old doctors that are still alive, but instead of having them play doctors, just have them play other characters in the episode.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be kind of brilliant.
Yes.
Like he's like walking and just kind of bumps into David Tennant, or Matt Smith rather, yeah. So I thought that would be kind of interesting. But they asked Matt Smith, and he didn't really give anything out. He said it would be brilliant to see David Tennant or Paul McGann or whoever, but no secret slipped out from him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a tight ring. I think BBC has a tight news on everyone who may be involved or who isn't involved.
I mean, it may be the best kept secret since Jenna Louise Coleman playing in Asylum.
Yeah.
Yes.
I tried finding the article where Karen Gillan says that she suggested her for that part, and I cannot find it. I'll find it. I will find it, because everyone's like, no, she didn't say that. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I read that. But that would be a heck of a secret, because, because you got to figure, if they're doing a 50th anniversary, first off, who would you want to see as the villain in that?
The Cybermen or the Daleks? We need a classic villain. Or the Master.
See, I think the Master could work really well.
Yeah.
The Daleks would be, to be honest, the logical choice is the Daleks, because the Daleks were in the second episode ever. And,
yeah.
Those good old pepper pots were like iconic after that,
Mm-hmm.
And Davros was in that episode too, I think.
No,
he wasn't. Yeah, well, no, because that episode took place after they were already created.
Yeah.
There was a Tom Baker episode where he went back to before
Genesis
they were being
of the
created.
Daleks,
Genesis,
yeah.
Which is a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I would vote maybe the Daleks, because you had like. There were other bad guys, but like Joanna said, the Cybermen and the Daleks are kind of your two icons. The Master, you could do that.
He's pretty.
But they tried that when they did the movie with Paul McGann and Eric Roberts. They tried using the Master.
You need a good master. You need a good script writer for that.
I'm not gonna lie. You know who could play a good master, even though I'd rather see him play the Doctor one day? Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Because I saw the clip of the new Star Trek film with him, and it sucks to high hell that he's got to play a bad guy because he is so good. But like, I could see him using that to play the master. First off, because they never really say if the Doctor and Master are related or not. There's hints here and there that they're brothers or they're cousin.
Yeah.
And if you look at Cumberbatch and you look at Matt Smith, there's some similarities in how they look. So I think them playing off each other with him playing the Master would work really well.
Or another Time Lord?
Well, he could play the meddling monk, who was another one of
Yes.
the Time Lords. Yeah, he could do that.
I know I've said this before. I would like to see them bring back the Time Lords for the 50th. Not the
Evil,
war
vindictive, gonna kill everybody.
scarred,
Yeah.
crazy Time
Timothy
Lords.
Dalton-led
the
Time
real
Lords.
ones. The kind of quirky ones that, like, with John Pertwee would just, like, pop by and be like, hey, we need you to deal with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's how they were back.
They
Yeah,
were-
that's how they were at the end of the Pertwee years, and yeah.
They just kind of, like, pop by, and because when he was banished to Earth,
Yeah, I
and they're
remember.
like, they just, like, appear, like a guy would appear and be like, oh.
They would use a transmat or matter transmitter or whatever they said.
Yeah, and they'd just be, and then the Doctor could have more conflict with the Time Lords, because he's always the renegade Time Lord.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be all on his own, free to do whatever he wants. Could be interesting.
Yeah. That wouldn't be too bad.
That'd be interesting.
So I'd still... I guess my thing is, if you vote for the Daleks, what do you do? Because other than Asylum, the Dalek episodes have been really hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like, Asylum was really good. The one where they were in World War II with Churchill was kind of alright. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. Like, it was nice at the end, the reveal of the different colored ones, which were in, like, the old movie or something. I mean, they had existed before, so it was neat seeing, like, a tie-in to something.
Well, that is
And
one
they
of
each
the...
stood for something.
That is one of the only times the Doctor didn't really defeat the Daleks in the episode either, because they
Yeah.
got away.
They just left, yeah.
Because they've said that's the problem with the Daleks. When they're so consistent an enemy, he consistently beats them every time.
Yep.
So,
It's kind of boring. It's
yeah.
kind of boring if you're... Oh, he's speaking to someone. So that's why you need to have someone other than the Daleks. You need someone like another Time Lord, a Master, the Cybermen. Like
See,
classic.
That's the
villain.
thing. It's got to be somebody that's a classic villain. And the problem is the Cybermen now are not the Cybermen from before.
No.
Yeah.
They're totally different. Although I saw pictures of the ones for this season, and they look cool. They look better. They look they look reminiscent of the older ones,
yeah.
but they're still not the Cybermen he met on that planet. And that still irks me. Because it's like, did you really need to, like, reinvent them from another dimension? And I mean, they looked cool, and I liked the episodes they were in. It just was... But they've always gotten beat up real easy. They were never really, like... For, like, a race that, like, has tried taking over the universe, it's astonishing that they ever accomplished any of it.
Yeah.
Like, the Sontarans would beat them up, the Daleks would just destroy them.
Because they all have, I don't know what that word is. I'm trying to think. I mean, they have their weaknesses. That's the problem.
Gold dust.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
That was the weakness in the classic series. For part of it was that gold dust would suffocate them.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
and also they don't have any shielding or anything. Like there was the one episode where the Five Doctors, the other anniversary episode. The one alien creature or the one robot or whatever was shooting like crossbow arrows through Cybermen like nothing. So I mean they're pretty defeatable. Mm-hmm. Who else could you bring back? I mean,
You could go really old school, bring back, like, the Celestial Toy Maker.
yeah, somebody no one knows.
But he was cool. They brought
We
back
need
the
to get
Great
back-
Intelligence.
Yeah, what one was the Great Intelligence from? Which
The
episode?
Abominable Snowmen with
Oh my God,
Troughton
with Troughton.
and the Web of
That's
Fear.
right. I'm surprised they didn't have the Yeti then.
He still was snow-related, though.
True. The Great Intelligence, that's right. But, it didn't seem like they knew each other.
Well,
Which
that
was
would be
odd.
the first time the Great Intelligence was meeting him, though.
Oh, right, because it took place in Victorian times where the episode
'Cause
with
the other
Troughton was
ones-
in normal, regular time, yeah.
Were
Gotcha.
like the 30s, I think, with the snowmen.
Was it the 30s with the Brigadier?
No, that was the second time we met him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the first one was the one we just saw.
No. Well, that is the first one. Then
Right.
we met him a second time in, like, Tibet.
Oh.
And that was when he had the Yetis, and he was at, like, the monastery. And then...
I don't know if I saw that one.
And then, like, the next year or whatever, he met him in London with the Brigadier.
You know, you can always bring back Omega. Omega?
Yeah, Omega. Yeah.
Who gave them their power. You can bring him back. Because
he was in the Three Doctors.
I hate to say it, if you wrote a Dalek episode, you would have to have the Daleks shoot Matt Smith and cause a regeneration to make it something different. I don't want to see that yet because I like Matt Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to like have an episode that's almost not like predictable, you kind of you'd have to do something like that. So you need to bring back somebody that they're just not going to know, or that's not expected. I think you can bring the Ronnie back.
Yeah.
She wasn't really well liked, and she was only in that one episode with. She was only in the McCoy episodes, wasn't she? Or was she before that?
I want to say she was with Colin Baker, but maybe not. I know she was in McCoy's first episode, so maybe she wasn't.
Well, then Colin Baker's last, then, I think. And as for what doctors you could bring back, I mean, that's the question, too. Like McCoy said, they're not going to come back and look the same. Like, when they did the one with Peter Davison and David Tennant, yeah, it was really cool.
I would rather just see someone, like, them looking like they are now, and then just they bump into them, like, you look like someone I used to know, type of thing.
As long as they don't break out into that song.
Yes.
Well, but, I mean, you could come up with an explanation if you, like, I mean... Since it's
science
fantasy,
fiction. It's science fiction. You can write whatever the hell you want.
Someone could pull them from their time stream and do it wrong, so they're aging or something. Or, well, David Tennant can always come back and age because he's got his duplicate traveling with Rose that'll age like a normal person.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
You know what you could do? You know what you could do for the 50th? In one of the, granted it's in the book, but in one of the books that was written with Paul McGann, there's somebody wiping out the Time Lords, like there's like a time war kind of thing. I don't know if it was a Time War book or not, and it turns out that when McGann confronts the person, it's actually a future incarnation of the Doctor that's trying to destroy the Time Lords. You could have him. You could have him battle a future incarnation of himself.
Yeah.
Like anything's possible these days.
That's true. But let's see. I mean, Eccleston hasn't been. The quote from Chris Eccleston is, "Would I like to be involved? If I told you that, I'd have to shoot you."
I think he's involved.
I think so too. David Tennant said, "I nearly said something I shouldn't. I don't have an answer to this question. I keep being asked, and I wish I had an answer. I have nothing to say." Then you shouldn't have said, "I nearly said something I shouldn't." I don't know if I did have any involvement. I wouldn't be able to talk about it anyway, would I? Probably not. So to me, Tennant's in.
Yes.
McGann said, "I'm often asked if they get the 5 Doctors together, would you do it? And of course I'd do it. They've just got to ring me up. Although I was in Doctor Who for 6 weeks, 16 years ago, it never goes away. It only seems to get stronger. I'd love to do that again, but it's not up to me." So I'm not sure if he's been approached or not. From either that or he's just much better at covering up that he is.
He's probably really good at covering it up because I think that sounds like a really well-rehearsed answer.
I think you could bring McGann in very easily, and I don't think it would be he doesn't look much different.
No.
He's more than happy to do it. He does all the big finishes, so I mean, he's been part of the Doctor Who family all these years, and I think he deserves it because it wasn't his fault that it didn't take off. In fact, to be honest, that episode's really not that horrible. Some parts of it were kind of ahead of it. If you look at the TARDIS Council and stuff in that, it was like all steampunked.
Yeah.
It was like 10 years ahead of its time, and. You know, you could blame Fox all you want, and it was kind of Fox's fault because they ran that at the same date and time that CBS was running the series finale to Roseanne. And at the time, Roseanne was kind of a big, popular show, so you're not going to get those massive ratings.
No, because I watched Roseanne when I was a kid.
Yeah, everybody did. Roseanne was huge, figuratively and literally. And But, and if you, you know what else I noticed? If you watch the opening titles for that one that McGann was in, aren't they strikingly similar to what they did in the Christmas special this year? Next time you have time, go on YouTube and watch all the openings. It's real similar. So I think the problem was that it wasn't really written as good as it could have been, but I think it was just almost too far ahead of its time because he was dressed kind of Victorian. It was kind of steampunky. It was just a little bit too far ahead. So I think he's in. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say he's in.
Yes, because he sounds like it's really well rehearsed in his answers.
Yeah.
Sylvester McCoy. The fans want all the Doctors to come together. Someone suggested something which I really liked, and I think he's one of them that's back.
I don't know if he's going to be back as a Doctor, though.
No, but he's definitely back. Because
I still think,
he's
though,
classic.
You could pull him in, and he could still pull it off.
Yeah.
He needs to drop a few pounds to get in the outfit again, but he could do it. But I
mean, the way he has wear a hat and all that, so you don't see as much of his hair. He doesn't look quite as...
You know what would be better to bring him back as, though? Like, some just kooky old Time Lord. Like, he could just be some kooky old Time Lord, and you can have those references like, you seem really familiar. Do I know you from somewhere? Do you remember the episode? No. Do you remember there was an episode with McCoy where there was another Time Lord that had a car for a TARDIS? I think we watched it here.
I think I...
Well, you can bring that guy back. You can bring Glitz back. All the choice bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Who else has quotes here?
Colin Baker.
Yeah, there's a Colin Baker one. Go ahead. You can... You mentioned his name.
Oh, wait. I lost it. I lost where it was on this document.
Damn you, Google Docs. I tell you, by the way, for anybody out there listening, if you're trying to collaborate with multiple people and not have time to get together, Google Drive works phenomenal for it.
Yeah.
Like, when I was typing up some notes, I could see that, like, who was, like, viewing it at that time. And it's brilliant.
I think Colin Baker has been asked because, no, I have not been asked. As far as I know, neither of my Earwist colleagues have been asked. I cannot pronounce that word.
Who talks like that?
I don't know.
Colin Baker.
Colin Baker.
Good Lord. Keep
it
simple.
Peter Davison says I feel no need to turn my back on it, but I don't feel like it's the kind of thing they do. I'd be very surprised if they tried to do anything involving the old Doctors because it always takes a slight stretch of the imagination anyway to figure out why previous Doctors look older, but I'm sure that can be done. And he was part of that already.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure.
No.
I think
his is another really well-rehearsed, I don't know kind of answer. Like, I don't know from him, but like when you read it, it's like, I have no idea if he is or isn't.
Yeah.
Because his whole family, like his daughter and his son-in-law had involvement in Doctor Who at one point, so I would be shocked if he wasn't involved.
Yep.
Sadly shocked because there's a history with his family now, so...
I mean, to be fair, though, he was involved earlier in the little 5-minute, thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's done stuff before, so I could see him easily... And, if David Tennant is buddies with Stephen Moffat, and Peter Davison is David Tennant's father-in-law...
He's got connections.
Because you got to know that you have to know that in England, David Tennant had a barbecue. Well, okay, they grill there, but I don't know what they do for like big get-togethers. But you have to figure David Tennant had to have some event where Davison and Moffat were there at the same time.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. And poor old Tom Baker. I don't know if he looks so different.
Yeah.
The voice is there, but man.
Well, he didn't even get a big part when they did that thing for the 30th.
Oh, the 5 Doctors?
No, when they did that weird, like, it was like 10 minutes long, like a special, and they had like all the Doctors and all the companions together, and they were just like randomly assigned, and it was like crossed with another British show. It was really weird. It's like 10 minutes long.
Well, yeah, but I think there. I don't think
he wasn't even a part of that.
But I think that was more his thing. I don't think it was so much because of them.
He's just like he's like announcing to his other selves that they have to be careful or something.
Well, he was the voice of British Telecom for like 20 years too.
But he
Or
he
5 or
looked
10
really
years.
different. I mean, even then, and that was 90.
Yeah. No,
3.
his looks went bye-bye real quick.
I was like, is that why he's not running around with it? Because, like, Pertwee was going around, and he looked exactly the same.
Yeah. You know what would be completely great for Tom Baker is if you do bring back other doctors, like K-9 shows up, but it's Baker's voice. Or like his consciousness somehow accidentally, during an experiment he was doing, got transferred into K-9. You know, some bizarre... Because you could see Tom Baker's doctor doing some bizarre, like, thing like that. But I don't know if he'd come... I don't know if... You know, I don't know. He said he'd come back if they asked him, but I don't...
Something seems off in that answer.
But
I think if they ask me
up.
nicely, or I can see what they want me to do, I'd consider it. I think the fans have been so good to me, they expect me to at least make an appearance. That, to be honest, it almost sounds a little...
Like he wants to do it, but...
Yeah, but it almost sounds like he's being a little egotistical about it, too. In a sense, the way he phrases it. I mean, he almost has the right to be. He was the longest-running doctor. I mean, they say McCoy was, but come on, he wasn't on the air.
Yeah.
You know, so he was the longest-running doctor.
But he signed up for... When originally they were going to have a 30th special, like a real one.
Oh, yeah, McCoy was signed up.
But,
McCoy was signed up for another 2 years.
Baker was signed on, and like he got paid regardless of whether they made it or not. He had like a special thing in his contract, so he was willing to do it. Then he was going to come back. He was like, but yeah, I remember he had like a special thing in his contract. So even though it all fell through, he still got paid. And Pertwee was kind of jealous of that because he didn't get that special treatment.
I still don't understand the hatred towards Pertwee's doctor. I really don't.
I love Pertwee.
I do too. I like Davison, Pertwee. Like we said before, Baker is not my favorite. I like Davison. I like Pertwee. I like McCoy, Smith, Tennant. In fact, McCoy was the only doctor ever to be voted more popular than Baker until Tennant came along.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's our roundup of the doctors, or the actors playing the doctors. They've been asking former companions, too. I mean, people are asking everybody, trying to get any little nugget of information they can get. There's a rumor that Carol Ann Ford will return as Susan Foreman.
Wow.
But now, if I'm correct, somewhere there's a website that has all the, like, episodes and books, and if something's considered canon or not, or whatever. Mm-hmm. If I'm correct, at some point in one of the episodes, Susan is the one that's there with... she's the teacher, right? In the first episode?
No, Susan's the granddaughter. Doctor's granddaughter.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, she's the student. And what was the teacher's name?
Barbara.
And
Ian
and Barbara, right? Ian and Barbara, it's mentioned in an episode, I think, with Sarah Jane or something.
Yeah.
That they are still alive and haven't aged.
Yeah, and got married.
Yeah. Susan would be nice to see. Susan, for her age, I mean...
Of course, the Doctor just left her on a planet, Earth,
in the future.
Well,
she wanted to stay with that guy.
He locked her out at the TARDIS, though.
Well, because he knew she was in love with him. Granted, she was like 17. There were some ethical issues there.
I don't think I would choose to leave her behind in the battle-scarred Earth that needs... But and in the beginning of that episode, he says he wants to spank her.
Wouldn't she be a Time Lord?
Well, that's the big debate. I've read things where people keep saying, no, she's not. Not all Gallifreyan people are Time Lords. And
yeah,
if,
but
if
all
Gallifreyan
people have 2 hearts and 2 sets of everything else. But to become a Time Lord, you have to look into the time stream or something, right?
I don't think they've ever...
I don't know.
There's like a Tom Baker episode where they mention like a plebeian class of Gallifreyans that are not Time Lords. People like make... I'm like...
The only reason they made up a Time Lord was because they needed to find a way to get from Hartnell to Troughton.
Yeah.
That was the only reason they did it.
Well, they almost got rid of him in the Celestial Toymaker episode.
Yeah.
Because he went invisible, and they were going to make him reappear as someone else.
Yep, I read that.
Yeah.
So Carol Ann Ford supposedly is returning. So, do you think she's going to call Matt Smith Grandpa? See, that's one that's going to be weird. Do you still want to spank me, Grandpa? I don't know. Maybe that's for the burlesque show. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Hartnell did say that. The episode where he says she's a woman. You're a woman now. Like a day earlier, he said, "I should spank you for misbehaving." I'm like,
He was an old crotchety curmudgeon doctor, though. I mean, come on.
He was.
But you know what? Some of those episodes are great to watch. Even though he's not likable, the episodes were good. I love that second episode with the Daleks. I think that was great.
Did you guys watch, going to the same with the first Doctor, did you guys watch that special that aired about a few weeks ago?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
saw it.
You did see it? I didn't see it.
It was actually really good because you don't realize how well written those stories were.
Oh,
Imagine
believe
those
me,
stories
we do.
on a modern budget.
Believe me, we've had this discussion many times, me and Nicole. We understand what you're saying. Because when we watch a classic episode, because of the fact that they have like 2 hours to wrap up an episode, there's character development, there's plot development, there's no rushing to get something done. So at the end of the episode, you're not sitting there going, how come no one noticed that? But you're right. I mean, if they had a better budget for some of those, that would have been great.
I would love to see at one point, just as maybe for a special, just put one of those storylines in a modern setting. See how it goes from there. But would it work? I
think some of them could. You know what I think was, and this isn't a black and white Hartnell episode or anything, but you know what I think was one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever, because it tied into Hartnell? Remembrance of the Daleks with Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, that is
he
a good
goes
one.
back to where he was. He's back.
That was cool.
They're back at the junkyard or the whatever it is, and it was a great episode, and it was kind of an anniversary kind of episode, I think, for one of them. Or was it maybe? It was near the anniversary year, but it wasn't an anniversary episode though.
No,
but it had some significance for some reason.
Yeah,
but
that
it was
would
a
have worked as a great
episode.
It tied everything back to the beginning, and
I mean, you could have. I mean, it was great. You know what? You could almost pull something off like that with Matt Smith. That would almost be a great idea for a 50th episode.
Yeah,
go back somewhere he was. Maybe go back and I don't know, but Joanna makes a great point because some of those old episodes with modern tech and with modern budgets and stuff would be so good.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the dinosaurs wouldn't be stop motion. The TARDIS wouldn't be on a string spinning around. I mean, they're right there.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it would be. I think I would like to see it as a nod for the 50th. Maybe go back to one of the every episode or every one to every Doctor and just relive something.
That would be real. That would be really clever if this series had been written where there were. Matt Smith is 13 or 12? 12.
He's 11.
Is he 11?
Yeah.
11.
Yes.
Holy Christ. Okay, Matt Smith is 11, right? What would have been really cool is to have had him, like she just said, one episode he's reliving a Hartnell episode. Like somebody's messing with him, and then you find out it's the Master doing it to him or something. How brilliant would that have been as a story arc?
Mm-hmm.
You have no? Yes?
That would be scary.
Yeah, it would have been great, though, right?
Being, messed with the Master again?
Oh, that's the Master's, way of messing with the Doctor. But, yeah, Matt Smith is in the Hartnell episode with, with
the Aztecs or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's with the Yeti, and then he's with, that would have been a great way of doing it. I mean, because they asked all the companions, and we said Carol Ann Ford. Sophie Aldred said that she found out that Russell Davis was going to put Ace in the Sarah Jane Adventure. And, obviously, sadly, that's never going to happen. I wouldn't mind seeing Ace come back. I wouldn't mind seeing Tegan come back. There were some that, in retrospect, as I look back on, I'm like, you know what? I really, like that character. I would love to see somehow bring one of the Romanas back. Rose, oh man, it's such a question mark for me.
I'm tired of Rose.
My thing is, when the show first came on, I thought she was awesome. I have pictures of her. I mean, come on.
Yes,
I have an
I can
autographed
see her.
picture of her over there. I mean, maybe because part of it was that the show was back, and it meant so much to me that show was back. Now it's I don't, leave it be. She's in another dimension, just let's leave it alone.
She's happy.
Yeah,
she has her Doctor.
I would love to see Barrowman back.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I would love to see Captain. In fact, I think he should be in one episode every year, no matter what.
Yes.
I wanted
just
to
because.
see him with Amy.
Oh, I think it would have been great.
I think that would have been
the tension between him and Rory because he'd be flirting with Amy the whole time, or him and River would have been good even.
Yeah.
See them together. But yeah, Barrowman would be great to see back. I could go for seeing Martha's character back, I think. Or Freema's character, rather, Martha.
Is she, like, in unit, or is she still a doctor? I don't know. It's like, they jumped from her being engaged to someone else for her being married to making it pretty quick.
Well, here's the problem, is Russell Davis was supposed to, rumor had it that she was going to leave Doctor Who, and her and Mickey were going to go work for Torchwood. Because if you remember, they walk off with Captain Jack at the end. Torchwood comes back on, but they kept screwing around with it, and they didn't bring it back on like as a normal series. I don't know what the deal with Russell Davis was. For whatever reason, in the first miniseries they did, it's mentioned that they can't help because they're out of the country doing something else. But then they're never mentioned again in any of the other Torchwoods.
They never made it back.
Apparently. But they were they were supposed to go into Series 3 of Torchwood, because originally Series 3 was supposed to be not a mini-series, but like an actual 12-episode, whatever. And they didn't do it. So, wasn't she working for Unit?
Yeah.
Right? Instead?
She was
But
with
it's funny
Unit.
that she was working for Unit, because technically she was working for Torchwood according to what was said in the other thing. So I don't know who she works for. And if she was working for Unit, when would have been a great time to have brought her back?
Power of 3.
The Power of 3. That may have made the episode good. Tell me that shouldn't have been a Torchwood episode, like a 5-part Torchwood thing. I mean, come on, really?
That's kind of boring.
And I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind buying one of those little cubes. Okay, the cube was neat, but the episode was just, Do you bring back Amy and Rory somehow, like already so soon?
No, I mean you could bring them back in flashbacks, but nothing current, just as a memory.
Unless you gave them like some kind of role to play where they are.
You give them like a red pill or a blue pill?
Like,
that's the Matrix, my
have
bad.
something that they have to do, like, in their time that sets something up for the, as long as they're not, like, because you can't just yank them out of that time now. That's where they are. I know they got Rose from the other dimension, but I'd rather they just not mess with that so soon.
So, for Series 7B, allegedly, well, we know it's airing March 30th.
Yes.
Which was very unique, because usually they don't mention an air date for months. They don't mention an air date for months or until like it's about to air, and now all of a sudden in January they're like, yeah, March 30th. It's like, and there's like there's a ton of trailers out too already, and promo photos and stuff. So that's kind of different.
I think it's the American culture that's demanding it, as opposed to what is different in the United Kingdom. So maybe something a little bit different dealing with our culture, because we want to know, we need to know now.
Well, I think the BBC in England would always announce when they were going to air it. I think BBC America was never quite sure, because they have to buy it from BBC UK. Because even though it's one entity, they're like all the shows that you see on BBC America that come from the BBC in UK, they actually like have to pay rights and stuff to show them.
Wow, I did not know that.
Well, they used to have to. I'm pretty sure it's still the same way, because that's why Doctor Who originally, when Eccleston was on, it came out here a year later, but it was on the Sci-Fi Network, not BBC. It wasn't on BBC America until Tennant, I think.
Yeah.
And then they eventually ran the Eccleston ones there. So I think they actually have to buy the show. So I think that may have been part of the reason. But now I think there's probably some other agreement, because New Zealand, Australia, America, and England all get it within a day of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they did that because it killed. They're trying to kill like the illegal downloads.
Well,
so
yeah.
Series 7B.
Yeah, Series 7B, the official line is that they say it's a dramatic turn of events when the Doctor meets a new friend, which I'm assuming the new friend is Jen Louise Coleman, Clara. I'm assuming that's what it is. They say, prepare yourself for thrills, adventures, and dramatic surprises as the show builds towards its enormous climactic 50th anniversary year. 14 big blockbuster movie episodes, each a brand new epic adventure featuring new monsters. Well, that actually is kind of the whole... 14's the whole run, I think.
Yeah.
So, you want to go through some of the cast, Joanna?
We have Matt Smith and Jenna Louise Coleman.
Who's Matt Smith playing?
Pardon the doctor, people. At this point, we should know who Matt Smith is. If you don't, Google it. We have Alex Kingston, River Song. Nave McIntosh. Madame Vastra.
I never knew that was her name. She's the most... First off, Madame Vastra is a very unique name, but her real name sounds like something a writer came up with.
She'll be at Gallifrey 1.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
She and Dan Starkey. So you got Strax and...
So you have her and the entire Centauran army, because they're all based off... They're all Dan Starkey.
Awesome.
How do you say her name? Jenny, the one that played Jenny Flint, Madame Vastra's
she's
wife?
not going to be there,
girlfriend?
so...
I think her name's Katrin Stewart. There's a bunch of...
Catherine.
Yeah. Is it Catherine? Did I miss... Maybe I didn't put something in. There's a bunch of guest stars. I don't know all of them. There's one name I do recognize, David Warner, but he was in episode 8, so we already saw episode 8, didn't we?
No.
What episode did it leave off on? Was it 5? It was 5.
Oh, wow.
What?
I'm trying to think. Let me Google.
Yeah, remember I was talking about The Wire? You mentioned The Wire. Oh, 5, because episode 6 is the one that I said sounds like it's going to be like The Wire. Episode 6 is about the monster, and episode 6 is sentient Wi-Fi. Now, is it just me, or does that seem very similar to...
4. Up until the snowman?
Oh, so the snowman would be considered 5 then, is how they're considering it, I think, then.
Yes. And the first one, according to Wikipedia, which I'm not sure is correct or not, you have the Doctor, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
That was last year's Christmas one, though. Does that count as...
Yes.
That doesn't count as episode 1 this year, does it?
I mean, according to Wikipedia, it is, but officially on the website, it started with Asylum of the Daleks.
Okay, that makes sense. Because there was such a time span between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that, the Ice Warriors are... it's not confirmed, but supposedly the Ice Warriors are back. Then he's going to deal with some ghosts. I'm assuming Gwen is not going to be there. And then the episode... As much as I'm not a Cyberman fan, the fact that Neil Gaiman is writing the episode, I'm looking forward to that one. And that would be episode 12, which is not the finale.
Then we have Warwick Davis is in that episode.
Warwick Davis? Why is that name familiar? I can't think of
he was Professor Flitwick in Harry Potter, and then he was in Willow.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of guest stars, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to be the kind of people that once I see them, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, okay, I know who that is.
Dougray Scott's been in a lot of stuff. He was in, Mission Impossible 2?
Diana Rigg's been in stuff, too, before.
Yeah.
David Warner was in a ton of stuff before, too. Other rumors, they said they're going to have a couple old classics from the 60s and 70s.
Ice Warriors?
Yeah, but Caroline Skinner hinted that the Zygons might be back.
This is going to be interesting.
Let's see.
It seems like Moffat is giving people permission or ideas to go and do something with the tie-in with the
50th
special.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
bringing
like.
Classic. That's unbelievable because it seems like, as my friends have been saying, that the new TARDIS Council is
very classic.
Almost a nod to the classic.
Yeah, it reminds the new TARDIS. And I swear to God, I hope they keep the titles and I hope they keep the theme music the way it is, because I really like it. Because I like it's a sci-fi show, so to me, sci-fi is always more electronic sounding, and the last few years of it were so epically orchestrated. It was kind of tone it down a little bit. It sounded cool, but just bring it back, reel it in a little bit. So when I saw the Christmas, the snowmen, I was very happy with all that. And the TARDIS Control Council looks great,
Yeah.
Let's see. First episode that's airing this... there might be some spoilers, people, so if you don't want to hear... there may be some spoilers, so if you don't want to hear it, turn us down, I guess, for like 5 minutes. Episode 6 is The Bells of St. John. It's going to include sentient Wi-Fi. 707 is the Rings, or Episode 7 is the Rings of Akhenaten. Now, what's interesting about this one is Akhenaten, if I'm saying it correctly, was Nefertiti's husband.
His name is Akhenaten.
Well, I'm pronouncing it wrong.
No, but the name is different in the title, so I don't know if they're doing some
the
kind of...
Doctor Who news area I found this in may have been misspelled, but allegedly it's Nefertiti's husband. Supposedly it takes place on an alien planet, and it's supposed to be the most epically large alien planet they've ever done for Doctor Who. So it will not be a quarry, I guess. From the still shots people have seen, there's a lot of Egyptian stuff in it. That's why the rumor is it has him in it.
Well,
and it could tie in,
It could, because the Aten is the sun god.
Yeah, so it could tie a lot of stuff together.
And that's part of his name. He's the Aten, the sun god.
Then Episode 8, the working title that people have been circulating is called The Cold War. No one knows yet. It's got to be. It still has to be confirmed, but it probably is going to be that. That one may contain the Ice Warriors, and it takes place on a submarine. Number 9 is The Hider House, or Phantoms of the Hex. They don't know which title it's going to be. That's a ghost story. Like I said, I'm not sure Gwen's going to be in it or not. Supposedly it's a historical piece, which the BBC is very good at doing. Mm-hmm. One that I'm looking forward to is Episode 10, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. What I want to know is how it involves an intergalactic salvage crew of 3 brothers. That's what I'm curious as to how, because, come on, it's a TARDIS. Why? But supposedly you're going to see more of the TARDIS than ever before, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. Episode 11, The Crimson Horror, another title that they need to, it's not confirmed, but supposedly that's it. It takes place in the 19th century. All the description said is people are disappearing from a factory.
Ooh.
So
and this one I'm looking forward to. The next one is The Last Cyberman.
I agree. This is the Gaiman episode.
Yeah.
Yes, because Neil Gaiman is a fantastic storyteller.
I agree. And he seems like a really nice guy, too.
I've actually heard him speak about 2 years ago. About 3 years ago, correction. And he is just brilliant. So, I'm looking forward to that one coming up.
Well, you see what Moffat told him to do.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I know.
When you get when the boss tells you to make him scary again.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 13 is our season or series, depending how you want to say it, finale. Basically, all that there is a description by Moffat. It'll thrill you and worry you. You'll be a tiny bit worried where we're going with this one. Supposedly, this one has the return of Vastra, Strax, Jenny, and River Song. So those are the Series 7 titles, allegedly. But like Joanna said, I mean, the ones I'm looking forward to, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS and The Last Cyberman.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, those two are the ones that I'm kind of curious to see if the Rings of Akhenaten, or whatever, however you say it. Nicole, go ahead.
The Pharaoh is Akhenaten.
Thank you. I'm curious as to see how they're going to tie it together. Is the TARDIS doors going to open and the Doctor walks out and he goes, "You took my wife," and chases, like in the Shakespeare episode.
You could use him because he's the one that tried to make Egypt monotheistic, worshipping the sun god, and he drew the art there. People have weird elongated heads, so you could totally make that something
easily.
alien.
Well, plus it's an alien planet. That's whatever news we have in our little wrap up of what's coming in March, and what we'd like to see, and what we think.
There's a lot going on,
and
so it's great.
There's an amazing amount going on, and an amazing little getting out about it.
Yeah.
But I guess
it's amazing that we went on for that long with just a little tiny bit of information, and all the rest is complete speculation.
So that was episode 2 of Two Girls, a Guy, and a TARDIS. Yeah, got it right that time. We all got it right that time. And thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be back in probably 2 weeks. And when Nicole's back from Galley 1.
Ooh.
With all the hot scoop and gossip.
I'm excited.
I know, right? I don't know what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks.